Hi everyone, this is Paul Peck with popsamurainetwork.com, and we are here at PopCon, and I am here today with John Schneider.
Hi, how are you? How are you? This is a great setup.
He is such a big part of my life, and I thank you for that.
You're so
going back to Dukes of Hazzard.
Good, you're good.
And I said I was going to hold it together. So,
Right.
So, okay, so we have Dukes of Hazzard.
Right.
Younger fans are going to know him as Jonathan Kent from
Jonathan
Smallville.
Kent on Smallville.
Mr. Kent!
Yay!
And Johnny is
Hard,
crazy
no
for
football.
that show.
I said no football. It's not fair.
And great power comes great responsibility.
Exactly.
Which is a great thing for the younger generation to always have that now. It's something that you said a number of times within the show.
Yeah, and one of my favorite things about Smallville, it was in the pilot where Clark had saved Lex's life, right? There was an accident, saved Lex's life. Lex thought he had killed a kid who was walking across the bridge, and he gave him a truck. Lex gave him a truck.
Right.
So Clark was a young man, very excited about having been given this truck. And Jonathan didn't say, I don't want you to have the truck. He told Clark about Lionel. And then Clark said, so you don't want me to have the truck? He said, I didn't say, I'm misquoting it a little bit, but he said, no. I just wanted you to understand where the money came from that bought that truck. And then I put the keys on a nail in the barn and let Clark make up his own mind, which I thought was brilliant parenting.
Right.
And that was in the script. Miles and Al did a fantastic job on Smallville, especially on the pilot episode. It was great. I think 2 of the best hours of television still ever.
Sure, and the great thing about raising Clark to have that kind of responsibility is he ended up, turning into what becomes Superman.
The greatest force for good that mankind has ever known. Good.
So with bad parenting,
Lex Luthor
would have gone so south.
He would have gone the bad way. Yeah.
Right.
And that was one of the underlying themes of Smallville was what if Lionel had found Clark and and I had gotten a hold of the Kents had gotten a hold of Lex. What would they be different? Yeah, absolutely they'd be different. And the other thing we had to do, the biggest challenge about doing Smallville was that the world knows that Clark Kent is going to become Superman. We could never play it as if we knew that. Superman didn't exist. We had to remind ourselves there's no such thing as Superman. We do not and cannot give any indication that we know where this is going ever. Which turned Clark Kent into a special needs child.
Right.
Like you're raising a special needs child, and we worked on that a lot. My son has Asperger's, so I was familiar with raising a odd genius, right? And Clark was an odd physical genius. He was an anomaly, and we had to make sure that as parents on the show, we raised him as someone with special abilities. This is not it, because they could be construed as disabilities as well.
Correct.
That's why I didn't want him to play football.
Right. I mean,
his strength would be a disability. It would be unfair.
He plows through the other teammates.
He could kill people.
Exactly.
Accidentally, with a look. So it was a wonderful show. Wonderful show. Honored to have been part of that.
How did you get your start with the Dukes of Hazzard? How did that all come about?
I was 18, and I had been doing theater for 10 years from New York State, and had moved to Atlanta with my mother, who worked for IBM, when I was 14. So I went to high school in Atlanta and had heard about the auditions for Dukes. But I don't want it to sound like, somebody just said, hey, you got to go do this, and I was working at a 7-Eleven or something. No, I was in theater in Atlanta, doing musical theater, doing every bit of theater you could do on stage in Atlanta, the Academy Theater, Academy Children's Theater, Manhattan Yellow Pages, all this stuff. But I heard that they wanted Southerners who were 24 to 30 years old that were not actors. So I'm an actor, 18, actor, right? 10 years on stage, 18 years old from New York. So I went in and I told him I was 24 from Smallville, Georgia, and I brought in a 6-pack of beer and gave them exactly what they wanted, because I'd heard I had heard that you don't have a second chance to give a first impression.
Right.
So that's what I did, because I sounded like this when I was in my real life. I sounded like this. I don't have a Southern accent. I just kind of sound like a radio guy. And so it was great. It was great. They believed it. They bought it. They dug my chili, as they say, and then we went on to make the Dukes of Hazzard for 7 years.
Great.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
It's such a
But I'm a
big
little more
part of-
twisted than that.
Yes, and I came to realize this after I watched his new movie. John.
4 to go. Because in a perfect world, sometimes bad things happen to bad people.
Right. Then there's some bad things that really do happen to bad people. And I was kind of like, I know John Schneider from Dukes of Hazzard and Smallville. He's such a good, wholesome guy. He doesn't have there isn't a dark place in his heart. And I now have learned I am completely wrong about this. I recommend watching this film.
4 to go.
Tell us, so I don't screw up the plot line here.
Well, I don't want to tell too much.
Right. And I don't want to reveal the dark things that go on in
No.
to write something.
You can see the trailer, but I'll tell you what, you can rent it also for $4.99. Hey, it's about a group of very bad people who, as a writer, I think your number one thing is you don't just say, oh, look, these are terrible guys. You've got to make them relatable. So we have Forrest, we have Tank, we have Sid, and Jason. And they have escaped with the help of a guard. They escaped from prison, and they take a hostage, which all I can say is that they took a hostage. They want to hide out in the woods for the weekend so that the posse misses them. Headed up by Johnny Lee, who's never acted before, and Johnny Lee is a great singer, songwriter, millions of records sold with not only Looking for Love in All the Wrong Places, Urban Cowboy Days, but he's a wonderful guy. But in a nutshell, they picked the wrong hostage because it looks like none of them are going to make it out alive. Which is a theme that I like to use. I did another film that I recommend called Smothered. It's got Kane Hodder, Ari Mihailov, Bill Moseley, and Malcolm Danar, and on and on and on. It's Don Shanks, who plays the warden in this. Don Shanks was Michael Myers.
Oh.
Yeah, so the warden in this was Michael Myers. He was also Nakoma. When I was a kid, he was Nakoma on Grizzly Adams. So great cast. But it's I like to tell stories where were you misled? Were you surprised at the twist, or did you figure that out?
I started figuring stuff out as I went along, but I didn't know how all the characters were gonna slowly play into it.
Good. You're not supposed to.
Right.
But you are supposed to get a lot of times people do a movie and it's misleading, and then they'll hit you with a twist. And to me, if the seeds haven't been dropped along the way to make the twist plausible, if you don't go, well, how did I not figure that out? Then the writer hasn't done their job. So hopefully I've done.
Right. There were a couple parts where I was kind of like,
good.
All right, now I get it, which is great because that's what you want.
That's hard to do. It's hard to fool people when you make a film.
Yeah,
it really is. So I'm good. I'm glad.
I love it.
Good.
I love it.
Good.
And it was something like I told you earlier. When it comes to watching a lot of films, my wife also liked the film,
but she won't be seeing it again.
She won't be watching it again because my wife does not like torture in any kind of movie.
Torture.
So.
But did you laugh in this movie?
Yeah, I did. There's things about Forrest that
love Forrest.
Yeah, had me laughing.
And Flat Stanton.
Yeah, there's just things I don't. It's so hard because I don't want to say
Right.
But I do recommend seeing this film. I'm very kind of give or take when it comes to a lot of independent films, a lot of films I haven't heard of before. So then I was kind of like, all right, I'm going to go into this. And so as I'm starting to watch it, I'm kind of like, I don't know. As I get into it, I'm like, this is just, it keeps getting better and better.
It's supposed to
So
be.
I thank you for that.
You're welcome.
That's great.
What'd you think of all of a sudden we got Three Dog Night in there?
I was.
How about that song, huh?
I was a little surprised.
That ain't cheap,
No.
but
I'm
it was
not
worth
gonna ask
it.
what it costs
It's a perfect
yet.
song. And then right after that we got Yes,
Yeah.
Owner of a Lonely Heart, right? Music is so important. Every movie we do, we try to find a signature in the very beginning. Like Anderson Bench, since you like this, you got to see Anderson Bench. We have Don McLean's Vincent, Starry Starry Night,
Yeah.
is our signature song for that for that movie. So check that out, Anderson Bench. It's all at johnschneiderstudios.com. There's T-shirts and hats and all kinds of things there too. But if you go to movies, you'll see. I think there are 4 of them on there now. There's 4 to go. Anderson Bench, Like Sun, which stars Joe Crest, who's one of the stars of Stranger Things.
Correct.
Jeepers Creepers has Jordan Salome in it, who's in Jeepers Creepers. He is Anderson Bench. He's also in a movie we just released yesterday called Inadmissible. So great folks. So Like Sun, Inadmissible, Anderson Bench, and 4 to go. And a movie I did about an orange car quite some time ago called Collier and Company, which you can watch with the whole family. I don't recommend any of these other ones to watch with the whole family. There are twists and turns in Collier and Company as well, but these you don't sit down. Oh, Johnny, look, it's the guy from Hallmark. Let's watch a movie called 4 to go. No, don't do that. Don't watch Anderson Bench with your children. No, don't do it.
Yeah, I definitely recommend checking it out. I was pleasantly surprised by it. And also, being a Dean Cain fan.
Have you seen Dean Cain like this before?
I have not. So that was a little bit of a surprise, too.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, Dean, I've known Dean for quite a while, but we hit it off immediately. I did not know Dean during the Lois and Clark days. I met Dean through one of these events. And Dean is great. He gets all kinds. Everybody wants Dean to do this, do that, do the other thing, except liberals. They just want him to go away, and I love him for that. Me and Dean, simpatico on everything. So I sent him this script, and we've done some faith-based films together and things. And I thought, well, I know Dean. Let's see if he'll want to do something like this, because the language is rough, and he plays a rough dude in this movie. And
he didn't start off that way.
I sent it to him, and I said, hey, what do you think? I'd love for you to do this movie. Before you read it, we are self-financed. All of our films are SAG ultra-low budget agreement, so it's like $120 a day. That's all we can ever pay anybody, but we do give a legitimate back end, which is why it's so important that you rent this movie or buy this movie, because I want to have the meeting at the studio where the actors all come back and they think we're having a barbecue, and we do have a barbecue, but I hand them all checks for their participation in these movies. So Dean came and he did the movie for me. Oh, you read it? And he said, oh, absolutely. This is great. I would love to do this movie. So he came out, he came to play, and he did a great job. Carrie Cahill from Walking Dead is Amanda. She's in Walking Dead. And Diane, I think she plays in Walking Dead. She came out, same thing. She's been in some other movies that we've done, and she's wonderful. So really, independent films, the reason why you don't hear about independent films, because most of the expense in a movie these days is on advertising. So studios have millions of dollars to throw at advertising, which is why they wear you out, and finally, seems to me, finally now you go see a movie that you know is going to suck. But you're so tired of the commercial, you just want it to go away. So you go see some movie that the studios are telling you, Paul, you got to see this movie, you got to see this movie.
There's been so many times where that's happened to me. I've gone to see
Aren't you more surprised when a movie is good?
I am. I am. 'Cause
Especially
I've
if
seen-
it costs $200 million, right?
Right, because I've seen movies that have a great budget, and then you go see it, and it turns out that all the good parts are just the commercial.
They're the commercial,
And I'm
right?
like, that's
So independent
sucks.
films, what we are going to be, we are not yet. All we have to do is get to the point where one of these movies sells 100,000 units. It's all we have to do. When we have that, our portal for independent filmmakers will be the place to go. And what we want to do is we want to bring other independent filmmakers in, run them through our sales portal, our distribution arm, so that they can actually get a fair share, the lion's share actually, of the movies. When you buy this movie online right now, it's $4.99. Vimeo takes 10%. We get $4.50, right? $4.50. If you buy this movie through Amazon Prime, we'll get about a nickel. If you buy this movie through Netflix, we will never see anything except our advance, because Netflix, I love Netflix, but Netflix offers you every movie ever made, just about, for $7.99. So if you paid $7.99 for every movie ever made and you watched 4 to go, what percentage of that $7.99 is mine? 0.00001?
Right.
It's not a good business model for an independent filmmaker. So what we want to do for movies and music, right? We want to be the place that independent thinkers, such as yourself, independent storytellers, such as myself, independent musicians, such as friends of mine, they have a place to go where if somebody spends $1, that the artist actually gets 50, 60 cents of that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No, not at all.
Right? Because all we want to do is do it again. I got on my laptop, I'm writing 3 to get ready. And the plan for 4 to go, we have 4 to go, which we already made. The next one is 3 to get ready. The one after that is 2 for the show, and the one after that is 1 for the money.
I like it.
So we want to. 4 to go seems like the one that is going to. It's the great book, The Tipping Point. 4 to go seems to me like the tipping point, where one of our films will actually make enough money that we can make the next movie with the proceeds from the previous movie. So far, we haven't done that, but we will. I'm tenacious. We're going to do it, and we have good product. It's not just okay. This is a terrific movie. If you saw this movie in the theater and you saw Lionsgate on the front, you wouldn't be surprised, right?
Right.
Cool. And you know how long we? I don't know if you have a concept of how long it takes to shoot a movie, but we shot this movie in 11 days. And a normal schedule now for an independent film is probably 18 days to 24 days. For a big feature, it could be. You know, they made Gone in 60, not Gone in 60 Seconds. Fast and Furious 8, I think it was the last one, and it took months and months and months to do that.
Right.
And there was nothing worth watching in that movie. I mean that franchise.
I've said a
when
few things
Paul
about Fast
passed
and the
away,
Furious.
when Paul Walker passed away, so tragically, so horrifically. They should. I mean, I know they made a lot of money on it, and it's about making money. I've got nothing against making money, but I'm a car guy. You know, there's got it, and I'm in a car. I drove a car that flew through the air and crunched, and then still drove away. But there's still got to be some believability to what's going on. I think as filmmakers, we have an obligation to tell great stories, not just have pretty pictures. Pretty pictures are fine, but you can tell a great story with a bad picture, and you'll still have a great story.
Right. Right.
But you cannot polish a turd. That's all I got. That's all I got.
That is true. Oh, one last question.
Yes.
Do you have any advice to new?
Of course I do.
New independent filmmakers, people that are just trying to get out there now as independent filmmakers?
Well, first of all, you have to define a goal. I'll get all Jonathan Kent on you. You have to define a goal and make sure that your goal is you're chasing after the right thing. A lot of people are chasing after Netflix. That's the number one thing people say to me about all our movies. Oh, you're going to have them on Netflix? You know, as if that is getting the gold ring.
Right.
Like I said, I love Netflix as a consumer. I love Netflix as a stockholder. I love Netflix as a viewer, but Netflix is the wrong goal for an independent filmmaker. So make sure your goal is right. We live in a world now where you can put your movies up on Vimeo behind a paywall. You can charge 99 cents or $99. It's all up to you. So explore. Find a good price point for your film. Show it. If you've made one, show it to friends and show it to people you don't know too. Show it to people you don't know and get an honest opinion about, like you. Get an honest opinion about your movie. If you haven't made one yet, make one. Make one with your phone. Make one with go to a Best Buy and get a GoPro 5, Hero 5. Go to Craigslist and buy 2 or 3 Hero 4s. They're a 4K camera you can carry in your pocket. They have a great little microphone on them. Or, give me that. Go out and get a Zoom.
Recording.
Go out and get a Zoom mic. What was this? Oh, this is a little fancier than mine. Mine was $450. Yours is probably like $800 or $900, right? It's a nicer one.
Well, this is
I bought mine used from a guy that bumped up to that.
That's the great thing about technology now is you don't have to sell everything you own if you're an independent filmmaker. There's so many
go back and
options
get
now.
a Zoom mic. Don't fall into the. Oh, I'll tell you what. Edit something. If you haven't made a movie yet, edit something. Edit it on Premiere. Edit it on Final Cut. You can rent Avid now. I mean, Avid used to be for a bad Avid setup used to be a minimum of $150,000 10 years ago. Now you can get a complete Avid Symphony setup on your laptop for $49 a month. The greatest. I mean, it's phenomenal what happens now. So make a movie, make it with your phone, make it with a GoPro, tell your story and see how it is. It's hard to like I told you about 4 to Go, it's hard to fool people. It's hard to make people laugh. It's hard to make people cringe. It's not an easy thing to do. It is an art form. So you have to practice it. But you've got to start. Don't let other people put, that's too hard. I'm not saying it's too hard. I'm just saying it's hard. But so are push-ups, right? So are pull-ups, but they're worth doing. So make your movie, tell your story, get it out there, put it behind a paywall on Vimeo and see if anybody buys it. And then do it again. And then do it again. And then do it again. I thought Smothered was the greatest horror comedy anyone had ever made. It's really, really good. Like I told you, Kane Hodder and all these folks, it's a fantastic movie. But so is this. This is 7 movies later. I learned a lot. I've been in this business since 1978, in theater since 1968. I've learned more in making these last 7 films. Each one gets easier and each one gets better. Each script I've written like 30 scripts now. Screenplays, pardon me. Each one gets a little bit tighter, a little bit more succinct in character description, a little bit funnier, and each one has fewer words in it. Don't have a lot of dialogue. Number 1 rule of film, of cinema, is show it, don't say it. Television, you have to say it, not show it. It's a budgetary concern. It has nothing to do with art, okay? Show it, don't say it. So look at your script before you take your phone out or your Hero 4 and start making your movie. Look through your script and make sure it's not dialogue. Get rid of it. I know something, okay? I know things. To prove it, go to johnschneiderstudios.com. Click on the movies, spend the $4.99. I think Anderson Bench is $4.99. If you've ever wanted to put someone that belittles you every day of your life into a chipper shredder in your driveway, you will love Anderson Bench. If you've ever wanted to hang somebody from their feet from a bunch of bamboo, have little cute little stickies on their arm, and drop them out of their skin just for fun, you will love 4 to Go. If you've ever wanted to be smothered by the most beautiful, large, wonderful breasts on the planet, you will love Smothered. Trust me, I know these things. If you've ever wanted to kill the bad guy, no, if you've ever wanted to prosecute someone you knew was innocent and get them the death penalty just because you're that kind of a guy, watch Inadmissible. These are good things. Yeah. And like Son, if you like Stranger Things, if you like Joe Crest in Stranger Things, you will love him in Like Son. So check all those movies out. If you like puppy dogs and fluffy clouds, go somewhere else. What do you think, Paul?
I think that's one
Put
of
it
the
in a
best
nutshell?
interviews I have ever had with the show. And
I'm so glad.
You circled right back around to that dark place again. I love you more than ever.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you.
He dropped the microphone right off the table with that one.
I did.
Thank you, Paul.
All right,
I appreciate
thanks
it.
a lot.
That was fun.
This
You got
has been Paul Peck with popsamurainetwork.com with John Schneider.
JohnSchneiderStudios.com. JohnSchneiderStudios.com. So you don't forget, go there before midnight tonight. That's JohnSchneiderStudios.com.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hi everybody, this is Jelani Hill from Pop Samurai Podcast. John Schneider, I Love You So Much is podcast on Smallville.
I might have just blown your whole picture of me as Pa Kent.
Even though you're in a dark place as well, can you tell me please, can you say, Jelani, I'm proud of you?
Can I say what?
Can you say, Jelani, I'm proud of you?
Jelani, I'm so proud of you. I'm
Got
so
the
proud of you.
Kent.
Guys, it's so good.
Oh, man.
It's
I got,
okay.
I got
It's all right.
I got Superman's dad to say he's proud of me.
Always hold on to Smallville.
Always. Thank you so much. Thank
You're
you
so
much.
very welcome. Thank you, guys. I've got some stuff to sign.